All right, guys, we'll start here on the fuse. This morning in the Discord here, we only had one little candle to watch for a top watch, and that was the no tag GP that ran up from 605 right here. So as we came into the morning, we said, okay, we got this weird little 5-minute here. It's the only candle. You can look through all the charts. We had no 15s, no 5s, no triples. You had 0 to work off of with, except this guy, like right. Yeah, and this guy was our call today, and didn't even play this one. We waited for the short because we didn't have any reason for a long until it pulled back. That was the only reason longs would have a possible chance according to daily fibs. So we'll see the monster move here most likely. So we got this move. There's my draw tool. Hello. No. Okay, let's reload that. Can we get a draw tool? It's kind of popping up. There it is. 4th time's a charm. All right. So we had this fib right here on the 5, and we said the 3618 was going to be the top, and then the break of the 2618. So we had this one right here that hit the 100 EMA, 200 SMA, 10 SMA with a no tag GP, which makes this 605 candle perfect for the day. And literally, what else made it perfect? We didn't have a single thing else except for these guys down here with an open fair value gap that we could have targeted short when it broke. And that was the only thing that we had posted and seen. So we came up and I said 68, 61, 95, that's the top, 68, 61 right here. That's because of the 3618 from here. Boom, hit the top, and bye-bye. So the other thing we can do here for this is plan for that 715 ADP candle. So once we hit the top, we obviously swapped short for that high, and then we point that to the downside. So your ADP candle to the downside gives you this extension all the way down here, getting close to 68.15. We said 68.50 had to be tagged first for any longs to have a chance, as it was a 0% long morning until then. It was very boring, grind up long pre-market manipulation scam, which is fine. We can play those very easily. But when we see that, we have to wait. It was the hurry up and wait model today. And we waited for all of this nonsense to push back up to hit our target right here, 6862. And we had that push down. Now, this was a push down that is obviously not planned. There's a whole bunch of news that just came out. You got Microsoft revamping AI agent features with a whole bunch of lowering expectations. So the guys talked about corporate consumer and adjusting for resistance from companies to pay more for AI, but AI has been a major boom. It's all about the bubble, right? So when Microsoft says something like that and talks about quotas for AI, you're obviously going to get a downtick and everything else is going to follow. The big chippers led a lot yesterday. So once those start to turn around, these are catalysts. So we were downsided, but this was not the plan. Okay. This is not a magical prediction where we said, hey, we're going to melt down 400 million points. Okay. Definitely short-sided for the open to actually pull back to go long, like we kept saying in Discord. That's fine. But to just assume we were going to get a move like this out of the question, that is a beautiful blip news. Okay. So as we come into the ETFs here, we have a couple different reasons we'll go through for the short as well. Again, this range of the short was not susceptible to regular trading. Let's go to the daily chart real quick. And I want you guys to look at two different things here for the range, okay? And some of the biggest stuff here we have to do with gaps and everything else that we use, right? We have this push that we swept up some of these highs, and we started coming into this boring consolidation after the Turkey Day holiday ramp up off the 100 EMA you see here, right? So we got that move. If you look to your left, we don't really have anything else besides the slivers after that for the gaps, right? Because we said this gap sliver right here would return to a fill. We got that. And then we only have one GP 50 left at the all-time high. So if you look here at 1029, that 50% is the only thing up here. Is that a really good magnet? Well, no, it's not an untagged GP. It's not a triple. There's really nothing associated with it except just the 50% of the candle was hit. And that's the reason we draw the whole range, right? But once we look over to this and we see, let's delete this target one. What we see down here, what do we see on the downside? Well, plenty of targets, unlike the upside, right? So we have these beautiful, holy moly, this mouse, I tell you. We have this beautiful 100 EMA tag, a no tag GP right here. So this is the first candle that you'd eye up, the 100 EMA tag, obviously no GP, 10 SMA no GP, and the gap that was left open, right? Talked about all these through. Spread it out. Here's the gap. This is a huge reason why longs would have to come back down before any reason to go in long. We can't leave gaps like this open on low volume either. We need to come back at those confirmations. So we came all the way up to this gap, right? Because we were going to fill this guy on the long side. And then we left this guy on the low volume Turkey Day, Turkey week, right? You go down into the intraday. What's that look like? And how does it pair with the Turkey Day weird algo? And I didn't mention this one too much because I don't like these large holiday ones, but it is associated with a gap now. So we can look at the break. So this would be where you're going. That's the daily gap that is untested that we just drew. And then you have this huge intraday. And again, this is holiday stuff, so we don't pay attention to these too much until we're inside the range. We have this range of this crazy looking algo right here. Now, this crazy looking algo obviously held the GP last couple days, but when you fail a breakout and you can't continue over an algo, what happens? It retraces, right? So we had the GP hold, resistance on the top, GP hold, resistance on the top yesterday, all the way pinned up today. Rates yesterday's highs, double top, no thanks, and then news, right? So now we're all the way back down to GP, and we have a beautiful, beautiful waterfall day we can watch. So we will be watching the SPY's GP, so anything under that gold, down to the gap, in my opinion, today, of the daily. And that's only because of brand new catalyst that form. Again, we couldn't be long until there was an actual pullback to prove strength during this, because it was just chop consolidation. If you look to the Turkey Day stuff, we have that giant gap. We came up, we talked about filling that yesterday and slamming down. Notice right here, we have a price level at 683.19. We said that is the gap right here from the Turkey week, and that needs to fill. Scam shied it here, fill here, big dump on the algos, okay? Simple computer trading. So we delete that, filled it off, got the huge dump there, come back up to here, and again, double topped and womped. Now we have tons of short side target and a great catalyst to do so. What is the other confirmations we needed? Well, today we said there are no longs until what? The 100 EMA hit VIX could happen, right? So it comes down to this, and we talked about this, the low sweeps. Again, this is all short territory. This is where we reign supreme. We came down to yesterday's lows. We broke it. If you look at the Discord, we said VIX has a chance to loop yesterday's lows and come up to the 100 EMA. Why is that? Well, you look, here's the trade session open. Where's the 100 EMA hit? Never happened. Scam. Comes down. We call those scam shies. We love them because we know there's a great chance to come back and take that 100 EMA for the computers. Comes down, no hit. Fresh lows under yesterday's lows right here in the blue dash line. You want to pay attention to that sweep and loop. We call these loops. Comes down, breaks, loops under the lows. Blammo. And why did we know that was a possibility? Because the 100 EMA. Did we know this was a possibility all the way back up 17? No, of course not. All we wanted was the short pullback down to some of those, as I posted in Discord, our trades as we hit all of our greens. And the 100 EMA was the target. This is, again, crazy news. We had an easy short out of the gate day to pull back to go long. But again, that was not supposed to be this large. But we knew that the no longs till later was coming. But this is, again, massive. So with the new catalyst and the new position sizing we have here, we do have this big old GP to worry about. We actually don't have a 50 tag either on this algo. So if you look real close, let's make this one like neon green so we know what we're watching here. Didn't work. Missed. There we go. So the 50 way of that algo was missed right here. Obviously, pre-market doesn't matter. Missed here. So 678.39 is going to be a huge de facto now for the bounce and play. So what is our best case scenario? Holds yesterday's lows, holds the GP, comes up, right? Gives us that lower high and finds the resistance in the golden pocket of high-low yesterday. So every day, yesterday's high lows gets marked off. We use this GP as a directional. I don't know why that's so crazy. Not transparent. There we go. All right, so this guy right here is our marker. That's why we started the short sentiment here at the beginning of the video. So it comes down to yesterday's lows in GP, pops back up, gives us a slam into some of these triples we just made here. So we slammed into that guy right there, right? And then we push back up, hit this guy, down. So that's the whole trade plan, right? So we're going to look for that move. And that's going to be the one that we are manifesting. So for as far as the volatility index too now, since we got a big catalyst and a big breakout further than we wanted it to, we are going to look to our left and assume where are those VIX targets, right? Well, we hit all the VIX targets this morning. If you look to the left, these were the last two. This was our last target right here at 1634 we had marked. Yesterday, we had our target VIX bounce right here at 1650. Both played out perfect. We can delete these now. We do have one GP open down here from that craziness on the turkey again. Not too worried about it. We're going to look to our left right now, and we're going to watch some better targets on the gaps. The gap and go downside right here being that one. So VIX target is now closer to 18 again as we are coming back down. Last but not least, I want you guys to come back to the ETF and pin this out as well. SPY, daily chart, and you know what we're going to do, 100 EMA, right? So any moving average taps on no tag GPs are very valid candles. We're going to come here to this candle that tapped into that 100 EMA. And again, we have new candles. Going to make it pink just so we know. We're going to see what that looks like here for the pivots. All right. So these two things will be deciding factors, right? So that 2618 resistance along with that gold was not hit. We have, again, new catalyst, and the over-under will maintain the 50 because of that, which means we can still come up to that 2618 if it wants to. We have a new catalyst, but we have to look for both options, right? So the two options would be this. We have this daily GP leading us down to believe that a gap fill potential and bottom tag of this golden pocket from the algo right here that we talked about, that big turkey day algo, can happen. So the best case scenario right now is a pop to short with the VIX on the way to 18 and the VIX on the way to the GPs that we had at 1750 as well. That's the best case scenario. The other scenario, swap, which means our bias would swap. If we hold this GP, start getting above it, and we have some news come out, some damage control from Microsoft, this whole, a Trump tweet, whatever it happens to be, that legs this back up over that GP, fine. We can look at it back up to these because we do have a couple different tags up here that are needed that have overlaps. If you look at yesterday's action, we had this interesting guy as well left open. He hits 100 EMA and 200. We posted this for that 3618 for the live tag. That's where it was coming right here. It was bouncing in 3618, 3618, 3618. You see it right there at 683. And then it finally breaks over and then comes back down. Now we don't have a live tag of that. We don't have a live tag of this GP. So that again leads me to an overlap right here. Here's where it's drawn, 0 to 100. That's the 5 minute. Where's the GP? Directly on the 3820, right? So that 5 minute from yesterday we had posted in Discord as well to be an interesting point. Will be a big watch as well, but we don't need every single fib on. We have a huge cluster of overlap right here, and it's the bottom gold GP. So we will watch for the longs back up from yesterday's lows to kind of grind it back up right here to at least here, and then make a decision right now, because if we come back up here and it starts to hold above, you can assume upside. This is going to be our trend change narrative. That GP from yesterday's high low. Right now, a slow grind back up, waiting for the moving averages like the 10 SMA to catch back up 1 minute after an impulse move. After a CPI, FOMC, we do this all the time. Drop down to the minute chart. You see your cluster. You take this. You got 1, 2, 3, 4 in a row. You're going to take your no tag clusters. That was the wrong one. That was the wrong one. And last but not least, this is the intro and how we're going to play this one. Change this one ice blue just because we need to offset the colors. And again, you're going to get your overlap of the same exact zone we just went over. So 5 minute GP, zone here, clusters, GP zone of cluster, top of gold. But all of these matter for overlaps. So the two things you could see here. Now look where that 2618 is at. Long up here, coming into the clusters. GP, fail back down to 678.50, best case scenario. Push back up here, random tweets and damage control from AI news. Best case scenario, back up towards way up here, 687. I will use today or yesterday's GP for that directional today. So we're going to watch for the walk back into it first long, and then find our range, find our potential. Watch the VIX roll close. That's it.